you been recently? I was just thinking about you, so I thought I would make contact. I hope I'm not bothering you.
No, it's fine. Is there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, there is something, actually. I would have thought you'd be able to guess. You're my son's girl. I hope things are going well between you two, but there seems to be something going on in the background. It may shock you when I tell you.
Oh, really? What is it? I thought everything was going well between my husband and I. No problems and nothing to worry about. You can rest assured that we are doing fine.
Are you sure there are no problems? You can tell me. Please do tell me everything. I will understand. You've been married for 3 years now. You two must be really close now. But there might be some troubles going on that you don't tell others about.
You're really pressing for an answer today. Is there something on your mind? Things are great between your son and myself. We're enjoying married life as couples do. We were actually thinking of moving to a larger house together. That, or maybe buying a new car and going on vacation. We're having a great time. We are truly in love, so I can't understand your close questioning. What exactly are you trying to say? What are you getting at?
You can never be too sure these days, can you? You have to be careful about everything you do. I heard a story about a girl who lost her husband after being married for 3 years. He got bored of her and ran off with another girl. Don't you ever worry that this might happen to you? In the beginning, I may have opposed your marriage. I didn't think you were a suitable partner for my son. I wanted him to marry a girl from a wealthy family. A girl with a great future ahead of her. But he married you. You're not that bad. But at the time, I was a little bit disappointed. But forget about that now. I've changed my mind.
Well, thank you for giving me your approval. I know you have never been my greatest fan, but it's good to hear that you have finally made peace with the whole thing. I'm terribly sorry that I didn't live up to your high standards. And why did you bring up the cheating thing? It's a bit odd. Why would you say that?
I just thought I would mention it. It could happen to you.
Are you trying to say something here? Has he cheated on me?
I don't know. Well, I can't be sure that he has, but I have noticed one thing recently. You haven't been at home much. It seems you're always away doing this and that.
I've been busy with work. It's been really hectic, actually. The boss has new targets for us all, and he wants us to hit them. He said that if we do, we will all be in line for a big bonus. I had no choice but to do what he says. I need to impress him, and I want to do well at work. Part of this is going to visit potential customers in other cities. We had to go on many business trips.
Do you think that a man would accept this as an excuse? His wife always being away from home due to her work. He might start to suspect you're up to something while you're away. Or he might start to think of other women because he is not getting enough attention from you. Did you hear about my son's first love? A girl he dated in high school. They stopped talking to each other after graduation. But recently, they have suddenly started contacting each other again. It was his first love. You know how much it will mean to him. Even now. Everyone remembers their first love, no matter how long ago it was.
Are you trying to tell me that my husband has been cheating on me with his first love? We've been together for 3 years. I know my husband loves me. He wouldn't do that. We always talk about our future together. We have big plans. He wouldn't throw it all away for another girl. He loves me and me only. Maybe there is another thing going on here. Maybe something that you aren't admitting to. I know that you never liked me. You say that you've changed, but I am not so sure. I feel like you're trying to cause problems here. I know you never liked me. I would appreciate it if you didn't mention this again. Let's just drop it and not talk about it again.
You seem to be very sure of your position. You don't believe me? Maybe you should be a little bit more pessimistic. Men often stray. They get bored or they just want to experience something new. Furthermore, as I said, this was his first love. They have history. Longer than you and him. Also, this girl I'm talking about, she's more beautiful than you. And nicer too. She'd make a real nice wife. In fact, she is just the kind of girl that I wanted him to marry. But then you came along.
I understand what you're saying. I know men can be like that. But my man is different. I am absolutely sure of it. And you should be too. He is your son after all. He wouldn't do it. Trust me. What makes you so sure that he did? Do you have any evidence to prove what you're talking about? Photos or something?
Do I need to give you evidence? You're really not going to believe me, are you? You're going to sit there in denial. I'm a lady of great wisdom and experience. I know something when I see it. I can tell what's going on. I don't need evidence. It's obvious. You should prepare yourself mentally. Soon you will realize what is going on and you won't be happy. You'll be heartbroken and feel betrayed. You'll regret that you ever trusted a man and that you didn't see what was going on sooner. What's more, it will scar you for life. You'll spend the rest of your life struggling to trust and move on.
Don't talk to me about this again. I don't want to hear about it. I think you've said enough. Now let's change the agenda. Isn't there something more enjoyable to talk about? Or do you insist on going on about this subject?
There is something that I should let you know about. That girl has been coming over to our house a lot recently. She has even been coming to family events. You could almost say she is becoming part of the family. She comes over and talks to me. I get along with her really well. She is such a polite and intelligent woman. I'm sure it's because she wants to be close to my son. And I'm sure that he feels the same way, too. Why else would she come over? Why else would she be this close to us?
She's been going to your house? I can't believe it. What has she been doing that for? My husband never told me about this. I'm starting to feel a little bit worried.
Yes, and she is so cute and lovely. She's a big hit with everyone. We all like her. What if he leaves you? What are you going to do? You're his wife. If he dumps you, then how will you get by? You're totally dependent on him for everything. This kind of thing has happened to a lot of women recently. It's a real tragedy. They marry a man who seems nice at first. Things go well for the first few years, but then he starts to lose interest and yearn for his freer days. Finally, he runs off with another woman so he can feel that excitement again. It seems like it's happening to you.
Look, just because she came over to your house doesn't mean that anything happened. There might be a perfectly innocent reason for it all. I will admit that it is a bit suspicious, especially considering that he didn't tell me anything about it. But it doesn't mean that you're right. I'm going to hope that you're not. Anyway, I've got something to do now. I need to go. Maybe we can talk about this topic again later.
What have you got to do? Some housework? I think you have more important things to worry about. Are you going to come over to our house later today? Lots of people are coming to visit, so I have prepared a lot of food.
Who is coming?
Some guests. I went to the store and bought a load of stuff to make food with.
Well, don't stress yourself too much.
I am going to make something I saw on YouTube.
Okay, great. But why do you need to go to so much effort? Why don't you make something simple?
There are important guests coming. I was hoping that you would be one of them.
Today isn't a good time for me, I'm afraid. I've got a lot of things to do. I can't come, but you have a good time.
Well, if you can't come, then what can I do? Such a pity. Anyway, speak to you later. What are you doing now? You should really come over and join us. I told you, we have important guests here. Come over here too.
Who's there? Did you invite that woman over? His first love? Why would I want to come over if she's there? What kind of mother would invite a cheater over to eat? You think it's fun to upset me?
Wow, you really do jump to conclusions, don't you? How are you going to survive when your husband leaves you? I didn't want him to marry you in the first place. I was totally distraught by it.
So you thought you would try to cause trouble like this?
Aren't you curious to know what kind of a girl she is? You should be thankful that I've invited her over. She is a beautiful and loyal girl. Come over and see for yourself. You might even become friends.
I can't believe you would do this and think it's funny. What's going on in your brain? I'm not coming over to meet her. Why would I do that? I always knew you were like this. A complete pain. Always trying to cause trouble and make me unhappy. You just enjoy your time with that girl.
What do you mean? I'm not trying to cause trouble. I'm just trying to help you understand the situation.
If you like her so much, then just enjoy your time with her. Forget about me.
What do you mean by this?
You know what I mean. She is so beautiful and lovely. You said it yourself. You told me that my husband really loves that girl. But I know that my husband is not the kind of guy who would cheat on me with another girl. I'm still confident about this. In fact, I'm pretty sure I know what has been going on. It might be you who gets the shock, not me.
What do you mean by that?
My husband didn't cheat on me. He had to go away on business. This much is true. But I know that he didn't meet that girl. I knew from the beginning that he didn't meet the girl. He told me. You were making it up. You never had any concrete evidence. It was just your wild imagination.
What a load of garbage. I remember clearly that he really liked that girl. She spent a lot of time with him. I was hoping that she would marry into our family.
So you think he has been spending time with her? She has been coming over to your house. And you think this was to be with my husband?
Yes. Why else would she be here?
I know that he has never hung out with this girl. Certainly not recently. She told him that she liked him, but he refused her. He wants me, not her. Yet despite this, she still thinks she has a chance with him. She is creepy and he doesn't like it. He told me it was always this way. He told me that when he was younger, he would run off after school to try and get away from her. It seems he never liked her that much.
No, it wasn't like that. They liked each other. I'm sure of it. He never told you this. You're lying. She has been over here. She has come over so much that I've started to see her as his girlfriend. They are really close and they get along so well. It seems like a great match. And why else would she come over on her own?
Just think about it for a moment. How did you know that she wants to be with him? Did you actually see them together, talking to each other? My husband tells me he never even spoke to her. He says when she came over, he wasn't in. So it must have been for some other reason. Let me think for a moment. Who could it have been? Your husband was there too, wasn't he?
What's the significance of this? Why did you have to bring him into the conversation? What makes you think you can talk about my family? You're a crazy little girl. What are you trying to say about my husband? Are you questioning his character? My husband is a decent and honest person. What are you suggesting? You should be very careful about what you say.
Well, if you want to believe all that stuff about my husband and that girl, then go ahead and believe it. Who am I to tell you what to think? If you don't believe the truth, then you're only causing more problems for yourself. When people are faced with a bad situation, they often go into denial. They live in denial, pretending that it isn't happening. Sometimes they come up with an excuse. It seems this is what's happening to you. You can't accept what is happening, so you made up this story about my husband being with the girl. The truth hurts, I guess. I suppose you did it to protect yourself.
What do you mean? Don't turn this around at me. You just can't see it coming, can you? You can't imagine that my son may want to divorce you. It's you who is in denial, not me. Believe me, it's true.
My husband just isn't the kind of guy who would want to have a divorce. He wouldn't just leave me like that. He is too serious to fall in love with another girl. But I'm not so sure about other men in your house, especially your husband. I think your husband is too friendly with this girl. They seem to be plotting together. They certainly have the courage to cause this much trouble. I think it's kind of pathetic.
Plotting what? What do you mean? You think they are up to something? What evidence do you have? You think that they are trying to split you up?
No, not that. I don't think they are trying to do anything. I just think that they are too close. Maybe they have fallen in love with each other. Maybe they're already together. Maybe it's you being cheated on and not me.
What makes you think this? Where did you get these wild ideas from?
I have my sources, but I'm not telling you just yet. It wouldn't be fair for me to tell you where I got this information from. I've learned about it, and I'm sure I'm right. 100% sure.
You think I'll just accept you making these wild accusations? Why were you gossiping about my husband? Who are you talking to? I always thought you were a weak and pathetic girl. But it seems you have a lot of nerves to make such bold accusations.
I didn't believe what was being said, so I had to find out for myself. That girl was always going to your house. So I wanted to know for myself what was going on. It seems there has been a special connection between your husband and that girl. He has always wanted other women. It looks like he couldn't control his desires. He has caused so many problems for his family. I was too curious. I couldn't hold back. I needed to know the truth. I even heard he's already done this kind of thing many times before. Why would you think it would be different this time? You're too trusting.
You're lying. Don't try to turn this around on me.
He's a big fan of young girls, and you know it. That's why she was coming over to your house. He was buying this girl presents to win her attention. Every time you were out, that girl came over to your house. She came over to be with him. Don't you think it's funny that you didn't even realize?
How can you even suggest this? It's ridiculous and outrageous! I know he may have been too close to other, younger women in the past, but it was just a phase he went through. We got over it together and moved on. Also, he never actually cheated on me, so I don't believe he would do it this time either.
Look, I have heard a lot of people say the same thing, and I have amazing sources for this information. I have already contacted some of her old school friends. They have confirmed the situation to me. If you don't believe me, then go ahead and ask your husband directly. See what he has to say. If you confront him, then he probably won't deny it. You can even tell him what I said. Her friends told me. It's not just a wild guess.
Are you serious about this? Are you telling the truth? You're saying that he's been cheating on me with this girl.
That seems to be what's happened. There was a big gathering of her high school friends. I was there and I asked them about it. I didn't believe it at first myself, but they told me. I had to know more, so I pressured them for detailed answers. After a few drinks, they started to tell me everything. It seems that she knew about his successful business. This was the trigger for her to make her move. She got the whiff of money, and so she came calling. I heard the inside story about this. I got to know everything. At first, she wanted to make friends. Then she pretended that she cared about his business and all that stuff. Finally, after a connection was established, she started to turn up the heat. And all the time, this was going on right under your nose. What a clever girl she is. And even when you did guess that something was going on, you thought it was your son she was after. How naive of you!
You really found this out. What evidence do you have? I want to see it. I will need evidence if I'm going to divorce him. If it's his fault, then I'll get a better divorce settlement. Help me here.
Why should I send evidence to you? It's not like you've been nice to me. If you want me to help you now, you'll have to give me something in return. Why not give me some money?
Where am I going to get the money from? I don't even have enough for myself. I just get some money from my husband and spend it every month. But it isn't a lot.
I thought you got a lot. You seem to live a luxurious lifestyle. But now your husband has cheated on you too. Are you going to get a divorce?
It's none of your business.
Okay, well, just don't contact me again. The whole situation is depressing for me. If you want to know the truth, then you can contact me. But you might need to pay for the detailed information. Until then, I guess we have nothing to talk about.
Wait, what am I supposed to do? How am I going to cope with all this?
Find a way to deal with it. Just grin and bear it for the rest of your life. She confronted him about what had happened. At first, he denied it, but after close questioning, he went on to admit his affair. Furthermore, it wasn't the only girl he had cheated with. He had done it time and time again for a long time. All the while, his wife had been living in denial. At first, she didn't want to accept what had happened. But eventually, she had no choice but to accept the truth about her husband cheating. She cried over and over again. She was hurt so many times by that man. Eventually, he cut off relations with the girl. As for the wife, she didn't have the courage to divorce him. She didn't want to be alone again at her age, whilst also being in a difficult financial position. She had no choice but to accept it and try to move on as best she could. Try to live happily ever after. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.